What up, boxing world? JF Sports. I want to talk to you guys about Roger Mayweather. He said that Canelo would whoop Miguel Cotto's ass, right? And that seems to be the general consensus. No, I shouldn't say general consensus. I should say the majority of the fans prior to the fight, like right now, you know, are for Canelo, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? For me, it's hard to pick who's gonna win that fight, right? Because I like both fighters. Just my opinion, right? Either fighter could win. It could go either way. The only reason why a lot of people include Roger Mayweather saying that Canelo would whoop Cotto's ass is because Canelo's a bigger dude. I mean, weight-wise, obviously they're gonna be the same, right? But as far as he looked bigger. You know what I'm saying? Canelo is a bigger dude, and he's young. He's heavy puncher and all that stuff, and no doubt that Canelo would actually give Miguel Cotto some problems, regardless of his veteran status, so to speak, right? But that fight's gonna happen, right, November, and it's probably gonna be big. You know what I mean? It's gonna be big. I can see that numbers probably over 1 million, pay-per-view buys, right? And it's gonna be explosive, I think so. Unless Cotto takes it easy and run a bit, so to speak, right? But I think Canelo would be aggressive in that fight. I think Cotto would be the one that's a calculator, so to speak, right? But you know what I really want to see, though? That's just my opinion. Regardless of what happened between Lemieux and Golovkin, is for Canelo to fight Lemieux, right? We all know that sooner or later, Canelo and Cotto would probably face Golovkin, right? But I'm not talking about that. I want to talk to you guys about Canelo and Lemieux. I think that's a good fight. Now, I'm talking about the Canelo that beat Kirkland, and I'm talking about the Lemieux that beat Hassan Jikam. You know what I'm talking about? I can't pronounce his name, but that guy, right? Not the one that, not the Lemieux that beat Rosado, all right? Because Rosado hasn't looked good in since 2011 or something like that, 2012. Yeah, I mean, Rosado has been beaten, Golovkin knocked out by Lemieux. And not to mention one of the 5 or 6 straight losses of Rosado came from, not loss actually, it was a no contest. It was against Jay Leon. Yeah, Jay Leon, the new best friend of Mayweather, the one that tested positive for hydrochlorothiazide, right? Used to minimize or not lower the salt in your body or something like that, right? For the use of PEDs and estrogen, right? Yeah. Jay Leon, he's also with Mayweather. How ironic. But anyway, Lemieux and Canelo, I like that fight. I like that idea. I was talking to one of my friends about that, and I said, instead of Canelo fighting Cotto right away, you know what I'm saying, and Golovkin fighting, Lemieux. I mean, instead of Lemieux fighting Golovkin and Canelo fighting Cotto right away, I think that the Canelo-Lemieux fight should have happened first. But, hey, just my opinion, right? Because I can see that fight as both fighters are young, Both fighters are explosive, right? Lemieux got some pop on him, you know what I mean? Especially that last fight against that dude, Hassan Chikam. I like how Lemieux looked on that one. You know, like I said, not with Rosado, because anybody can beat Rosado right now. But Roger Mayweather supposedly is a fan of Canelo. As a matter of fact, an article came out. I'm gonna put the link in the description, and he said that's a big motherfucker against Cotto, and Cotto's gonna get his ass whooped by that big motherfucker, right? Now, Roger also said in the article, which of course he has to mention it, about Floyd Mayweather beating Canelo, right? Roger Mayweather said that, yeah, Floyd outboxed Canelo, this and that. Well, I don't know, man. Floyd might be on juice at that time frame, you know, who knows? He ran a lot against Canelo too, you know. So, but that's what Roger Mayweather said, that, you know, he actually favors Canelo against Cotto. And that's not surprising. Like I said, majority of the fans are for Canelo at the moment. I have yet made my picks of who's going to win against, you know, Golovkin, Lemieux, and Cotto Canelo. I don't know yet. Because even though I favor Golovkin to win against Lemieux, I still haven't really decide. I mean, I haven't made my prediction yet, so it's not official, right? Until I make my prediction, then it'll be official. But I am obviously leaning towards Golovkin to beat Lemieux. But whatever. It's just my opinion. Who cares, right? But if Canelo beats Cotto, right, it's almost a mandatory against Golovkin. Now, Golovkin obviously don't have to fight Canelo. He don't have to fight him. And that's if he wins against Lemieux. But sooner or later, like I said, Canelo and Cotto will probably face Golovkin. If Cotto don't retire after Canelo, right? But what happens if Cotto wins against Canelo? And Golovkin wins against Lemieux? Then it's also almost a mandatory for Lemieux and Canelo to fight, right? And that would be a good fight. I think so. Yeah. But yeah, man, is the majority of the fans is favoring, as of right now, is favoring Canelo to beat Cotto. There's some articles that came out. Obviously, we haven't heard anything big, you know, since their promotional tour, so to speak, right? But I'm sure we'll hear some more. I'm just fucking bored, bros. I just want to talk to you guys. I was smoking, so I was like, you know, take up my fucking camera and start talking and shit. But yeah, it's interesting that we have a lot of big fights coming up. This weekend, you guys don't forget, I think on the 26th, Saturday, is gonna be Wilder against the Hoopas or something like that, right? And then after that, you got Alakberdiev, Broner, you got Matisse, Postul. That's the fight that I want to see. I want to see that fight. I'd like to see the Matisse versus Postul more than the Broner versus Alakberdiev. You guys know Broner's gonna win that fight. This is a fucking setup, alright? Heyman set this shit up, you know, for Broner to move up so he can fucking get some wins again and get another shot, the third shot at 147, right? Well, not exactly 147 because there was a catch weight against Sean Porter and fucking Maidana, but whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. Above 140, he gonna get another shot because he gonna win against Alakberdiev impressively, if not knock the guy out. And then Broner's gonna talk a lot of crap again because, as we all know, Broner is, so for some reason, man, that's Al Heyman's baby. I haven't figured that out why. And besides his mouth, right now, Broner's mouth is no good to us because he's not talking to anybody because of Dan Rafael hurt his feelings, right? Dan Rafael said some things that fucking made Broner shut his big mouth off, right? Anyway, let me know what you guys think about all the stuff that I talked to you guys about Roger Mayweather favoring Canelo and the fans favoring Canelo to beat Cotto. And let me know what you guys also think as far as what I said about Canelo versus Lemieux. All right, I really want to hear your thoughts about that. I don't know, man. For some reason, I want to see that fight. You know what I'm saying? I think that'd be a good fight. Lemieux Canelo. That's a good fight. Let me know what you guys think. Drop me a comment. And as always, thanks for watching and subscribe.